Hey guys, Chris Reeve here. Today I want to break down and show you guys how I made my Akon Bonanza remix. It has over 3 million streams on Spotify right now, which is crazy to me. But before we jump into the project, I want to let you guys know that you can download the project file so you can actually have a look in the project while I'm explaining everything to you guys. The link to the download is in the description below, so go check it out, download the project so you have some extra insights and maybe you can use it to come up with something cool yourself. Okay, so we're starting with the kick drum because every good dance song always starts with a kick drum. This kick drum is pretty simple. It has some processing on it, but not a lot, so I'm using kickstart to make it a bit shorter. This bass line has a lot of character and I wanted to make more space for the bass line, so I made it a bit shorter. Then I have some transient shaper on to give the highs a bit more attack. This is a multi-band transient shaper from Neutron, and yeah, it's super simple. You just make a high band like this and then give the kick a bit more attack. So without, with. Then slide EQ to remove some rumble in the kick. And that's all. I'm also using these little in-between kicks over here. Then overall the drums are pretty simple. I have this drum loop. It's from one of my older tracks. I just bounced it to audio and then added it in. Some claps, some hi-hats, and a ride, and then obviously more loops from other songs that I've made in the past. Now for processing, I have a pretty large drum bus over here. I'm taking away all the lows. The kick drum is not in this drum bus, okay? So you wouldn't do this if the kick drum was in there. But I removed all the lows. Then I use this channel to boost some of the higher frequencies. Then I'm clipping the drums. So as you can see over here, just taking away really small peaks. Not doing that much, but just taking away some of the peaks. Then thermal, I'm using this for a little bit of distortion, but also this makes the drum sound a bit wider. You have to be careful with this one. As you can see, I only put it at 5%. It just makes everything a bit wider. Then I'm using a transient shaper to remove some of the sustain in the drum. So I'll let you guys hear what's the difference between with and without. So if I turn this up, you see the drums get a little bit tighter. Then soothe because the hi-hats were a little bit harsh. So this is taking away some of the harshness. And then another suit because still had some issues with the harshness of the drums. So yeah, overall pretty simple drums, nothing crazy. The processing, I do this all the time. I love this drum bus. The suit makes it really smooth. Don't overdo it because you'll lose all the character. And let's go over to the bass. So the bass, it's in 4 layers. So the sub layer is pretty simple. It's just a silent one with some overdrive, transient shaper to give it a bit more attack. And obviously some kickstart to make more space for the kick drum. Then this brass is to add a little bit more character in the second part of the drop. The main bass is for the character overall. Which is this patch in Serum. It's called Julian Jordan. I did some processing on it, but nothing crazy. Just some EQing, some saturation, and this is just for a filter. And then we have the growl that's in between. It's also a patch by somebody else. So yeah, that's the bass. Together it sounds like this. Now let's go over the leads. So for the first part of the drop, I have a couple of leads going here, which are mainly one-shots or samples, as you can hear. So this synth shot is from another track that I've made before, and I think this one is as well. just from a loop that I found. It's more as a background synth. Then for the second part, I have some leads over here. Now they exist of 2 layers. The first one is this one. And this is just to give it a bit more character. Now this lead is from my song Talking on IG. As you can see, it has some EQ on there. Again, some saturation, sidechain, and then this match EQ. What I did here is I load in a sample, which I like the character of the sample, the way it had some higher frequencies, and I wanted the same character on my lead. So what I did is I loaded in the existing sample and then matched EQ'd it. So what it does, it's checking out the frequencies of the sample that you load in, then it's checking your sound and see what kind of frequencies are in there, and then it will adjust the EQ in a way that your sound will sound closer to the sound that you put in as a reference. So as you can see, my sound had less higher frequencies and some mids, and so it changed that. Now we can exaggerate it by doing it 100%. That will sound like this. But I like it more subtle and more like this. So yeah, that's basically the processing on the leads. So together, the drums, the leads, and the bass, it sounds like this. Now obviously we also have a breakdown where we needed some leads and some chords. So what I have over here is this organ from Logic. It's a stock plugin. And I combined that with this 80s synth in Serum. Together with the Reese bass that I use all the time. People started calling it the Chris Reese, so it's kind of an inside joke. Together with the loop on top. So yeah, that's basically it for the leads. Pretty straightforward. I like to use organ sounds all the time, especially in somewhat more clubby songs. Then we have the vocals. Now the vocal processing I did in another project. I can make a separate tutorial about it. Just want to give a huge shout out to Swizzy Max for nailing the vocals, and because he covered the vocals, we were able to put it on Spotify. So
shake your body like a belly dancer. Hey ladies, drop it down. Just wanna see you touch the ground.
All the processing that's on here is a little bit of four-man shifting and some side chaining for when the kick is playing. But that's all. Okay, so now for the effects. We have not a lot of effects here. It's only a couple. So this impact synth I use in a lot of tracks. We have some fills going on here. Some uplifters, some crashes. And then some atmosphere. Now, for the build-up, we have some risers over here. Just to build a bit more tension in the song. Yeah, so basically that's it. It's drums, bass, some leads, some effects, and the vocals, and then together it sounds like this.
Shake your body like a belly dancer. Hey ladies, drop it down. Just wanna see you touch the ground. Don't be shy, girl, go bonanza. Shake your body like a belly dancer. Hey ladies, drop it down. Just wanna see you touch the ground. Don't be shy, girl, go bonanza. Shake your body like a belly dancer. Shake your body like a belly dancer.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. Again, if you want to have the project file, you can find it in the description below where you can download it. And I hope to see you guys in the next tutorial.